important issue for determining your November vote, and this is Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and average. Look at what's number one, the economy / inflation, 31%. That's a great issue for Donald Trump. He's always led on the economy and inflation. How about immigration? Issue number two, 16%. Another great issue for Donald Trump. Only when we get down here to abortion at 16% is where Kamala Harris does particularly well. So two of the three top issues are issues on which Donald Trump does better than Kamala Harris. So not much of a surprise that he's leading the poll. How about this? I think this is really interesting. All right, choice for president, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. All right, Hispanic voters. 4 years ago, Joe Biden won that vote 66% in the Sun Belt. Look at where we are now. Kamala Harris at just 52%. So Kamala Harris struggling among Hispanic voters. Donald Trump doing considerably better than he did 4 years ago. How about black voters? Kamala Harris, again, leading here by a significant margin, right? She's getting 83% of that vote, but that is significantly short of Joe Biden's 92%. So the bottom line is, in the Sun Belt, which is much more diverse than the northern battleground states up in the Great Lakes, Kamala Harris is struggling among...
Folks, do you see how devastating these numbers are for Kamala Harris? I mean, these are absolutely devastating. These are post-debate. And we're going to show you some more receipts about some polling data that's been taken by the New York Times Siena, one of the top pollsters. Now, they weren't in the top 4 or 5, but they certainly were much better than some of these other left-leaning polls. And you know for your fact that New York Times Siena has been more of a left-leaning poll, much more against the Republicans and especially against Donald Trump. But to have the New York Times and Siena come out with this, if she's only getting 52%, folks, she needs to be in the 60s, minimum in the 60s. The mid-60s, 70s would be right where she needs to be. She is way off as we're looking over here. And the same thing here. When I hear other people on other channels that are more Kamala Harris, favorites and, shills for the Kamala Harris administration, when they're taking a look at some of these polls and they're saying, they're looking at these same numbers, but they're saying it's not a problem because they're saying the other and the independents or the people that are undecided, they haven't voted yet, they're going to swing towards Kamala. So if you've got 17% of the vote out there, and let's say they're giving 7%. These are the Kamala Harris, campaigners. They're saying 7-8% of the black vote you give to Donald Trump. Well, there's 10% undecided, and they're saying she's going to take the majority of those black voters when they come there to finally take the vote. They're not going to pull the trigger for Trump. They're going to pull it for Kamala Harris. So that's where she's going to go ahead and make up that 7-8 points with that. Folks, I'm telling you, that is not happening. Check out some of our other videos. Every single black focus group that is being done out there that literally has taken samples. You've got black men that are not saying that they're saying they're not voting for her, and black women too. Now, we know she's going to get the majority of the black vote. But as I've said before, if Donald Trump right now and some of the other polls, if you take it, Atlas Intel, Rasmussen, People's Pundit, I'm just trying to think of some of the others, Trafalgar, they are showing that he is consistently getting in the mid-20s to high 20s of the black vote. So let's say it's in those things, there's 27, 20. Let's say he's even at 18%, 17, 18%, 15%. Folks, he was at 7, 8% before. If he's at 20, that's almost triple. If he gets 15, he was 7, he's more than doubled. Do people have how much that makes a difference in places like Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona? It makes a huge, huge, huge difference. And that's just among the black vote, the Latino vote. We already told you, okay, that what happened just yesterday, where the mayor of Hamtramck, a Democratic mayor, is endorsed President Trump, and he's Muslim. He's a Muslim Democratic mayor. of one of, and they have a majority Muslim council. It's the only city right now. It's Muslim majority. That along with Dearborn, Michigan. What do you think is going to happen in Michigan, folks? And if you think that's it, I just wanted to make sure I have this thing here. Take a look at the poll that's come out and the questions that they asked in terms of pre-debate, post-debate. Folks, check this out. So these are polling averages times Siena in Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. All right? And these were all done. They were looking at what was the margin pre-debate and then margin, now look at it, margin post-debate. So pre-debate, she's up 5 among likely voters. Post-margin, +5. Polling average. Trump was less than 1, now Trump is 2. Georgia, Trump was up 4, no change. Polling average, among all Georgia polls pre-debate, he was just less than a point. Trump is now up +2. In North Carolina, pre-debate, likely voters, she was up +2, after the debate +3. Polling average, among all polls, they're showing Harris +1, now it's even. So when you take a look at that and you go, wow, what happened? Where did the independents go? The independents went to Donald Trump. And you can check out one of my other videos, put the links down below, where they showed all these dial groups. Well, when Donald Trump was speaking on anything, the independents were basically going at the same way. They were intertwined with the Republican dial focus group. And anytime Harris spoke, well, they went in the opposite direction, but certainly the Democrats went up, but the Republicans and the independents went down the same way. It was just, I mean, those are just what's going on. Independents are flocking right now to Donald Trump. Even folks, okay, I mean, CNN was stunned. If you think that's something, take a look at what Jim Acosta. Let's go to Jim Acosta talking about this shift with Hispanics. He's absolutely stunned, folks.
We should note, and I don't know if we can show this number, I want to put this up on screen. Latino voters have moved away from Harris in Arizona. If you believe this New York Times poll, her lead has shrunk by 11 points in that voting bloc. She was at 60% in August, now 49.
So again, folks, I just wanted to show this to you, how important this is. In August, 60%, now 49. Okay, you want to say that, the trend is going in the wrong direction. Let's even say you drop this down and you say it's not 11, it's half. So let's say you even get 55. Well, what's going on? Shouldn't you be capturing these people and increasing, or at least staying even? You're going in the negative number. Whereas on the other hand, this is the trajectory you'd like to see, that if someone was at 37% and now they're at 41, I mean, undecideds. Okay, 4% were, undecided. Now 10% are. So, okay, let's say you get that 10%. Okay, you're not going to get all 10%. But that 10% is going to take you. And we said, even if that you got that 10%, that's 59. Remember, Biden was at 66. You've got to be above 60, mid 60s minimum, I think, in order to, assure yourself of a victory in the Sun Belt states, especially within the Hispanic community. Because the percentage of the Hispanic community that starts to vote for Trump, then the Asian community starts to vote for Trump. Percentage of the Black community starts to vote for Trump. A percentage of the Muslim community starts to vote for Trump. What demographics are left? What, the LGBTQIA, MOUSE, that crowd? And folks, if that doesn't all, basically cause Kamala and her campaign to have, fits, take a look at this man of the street interviews and what this guy is seeing, all right, from his TikTok video. And then there's a little bit afterwards of the CNN coming in and talking about these polls as well. And we'll end it with that. Check this out.
Trump or Kamala?
I don't know. Trump? I don't know.
Trump or Kamala? Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Definitely Trump. Donald Trump.
Trump or Kamala? Trump or Kamala?
Kamala, yeah.
Trump or Kamala?
Oh, Trump.
You.
Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
No.
Trump or Kamala?
I'm gonna have to go with Trump, brother.
I don't know.
Trump or Kamala?
Oh, absolutely Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
I don't even know who Kamala is.
Electra Janis is the vice chair of the Washington County Board of Commissioners. A 28-year-old Republican voting for Trump, she thinks that Trump can keep the gains he made with younger voters when Biden was still in the race.
I will say when I'm voting for President Trump, I'm not voting for a person. I'm voting for his policies.
Breaking this morning, new polls with good news for Donald Trump in key battleground states as Vice President Harris unveils a new aggressive plan for the week. The closest election we have ever seen. That is what this one is, at least right now. Brand new polling this morning shows Donald Trump narrowly ahead in 3 critical battleground states, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. This after polls last week that showed the opposite. Harris narrowly ahead in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The new polling from the New York Times and Siena College shows that Trump has a 5-point lead in Arizona.
Just wanted to bring it back to some reality and sanity, folks. But did you hear that? So they're talking about the polls, but they can't help it. But they got to give a little bit of life support, the CPR to Kamala's campaign. So what they say, she's coming out with some bold new initiatives this week. And then they go on to say, well, the polls changed from last week where she was ahead. And that's exactly what they're doing, folks. They are teasing us. The narrative they want is that this election is so effing close. Because everyone's going to be glued to their set. Oh, what's CNN saying next? What's MSDNC saying next? What's Fox saying next? What's NBC saying next? ABC, CBS, oh my God, the alphabet networks, what are they doing? What are they saying? The polls, oh, come on. Everybody, just laying there waiting with bated breath for the next poll to drop. And then everybody that wants to take the polls that they want, they do. Both sides do. But I think what we're doing on the Republican side, or from what I've seen from these pollsters that seem to have let's just say, they are showing that Trump is winning, but they were the top pollsters in the top 4 or 5 going back 8 to 10 years. And they don't have a dog in the fight. Now, you might hear that different. You might be saying, Dr. As you're saying that, because obviously you think those are Republican polls. I'm talking about Atlas Intel, Rasmussen, Trafalgar, People's Pundit, those ones out there. We're looking at the New York Times over here. This has never been a conservative leaning poll. They've been pretty decent. They've been off as well. But they certainly, for them to be putting this type of information out, you're wondering, this is in line with some of the pollsters that are doing, I think, a much, much better job, especially when you take a look at their crosstabs and weighting the electorate to what it would have been in 2020, 2016, 2024. But here you go. They've got to have that narrative. And I am going to close with this thought. The narrative in 2016 was what, folks? The narrative. Clinton has got it. Even New York Times at that time, they were saying, 98% chance of winning, probability of Trump. It's not even close. She's up by 7. She's up by 10. She's up by double digits. That was the narrative. What was the narrative in 2020? Biden's up by 5. Biden's up by 7. Biden's up by 17 in Wisconsin. Won by 1, folks. Barely. He's up all over the place. The narrative, Biden has got this. And if it wasn't for shenanigans and other chicanery and other types of things and changing the rules, not allowing the state legislatures to do what they were doing, constitutionally duly appointed to do, and everybody else putting their hand into the electorate process, of what ballots can be counted, what can't be counted, what can be stamped, no chain of custody required, nothing like that. We all know what the crap happened. And now the narrative is, it's so close. You can't even see. It's this close, folks. Can you see any daylight there? No, it's close. It's a close election. I don't think this is close at all, folks. Check out our other videos. I've got Trump at 345, Kamala at 193. I've said Trump is going to flip 4 states. Whether he does it or not, I'm putting myself out there and I don't mind. Everybody's playing it safe. He's going to win the swing states. Okay, fine. What about New Mexico? What about New Hampshire? What about Minnesota? What about Virginia? I've been calling these states for almost the last 6-7 weeks and saying that he's going to have a shot at those because he's going to expand the electoral map. He's not going to shrink it. He's going to widen it. Right now, Virginia's by statistical dead heat. New Mexico is 0.5. Kamala's up. Minnesota is down to 1 to 2 points. New Hampshire, with this wave, folks, as I said, I think those are just dominoes to fall. And those are just additional stuff that takes him to 345. Even if he doesn't get those votes, he's still at 313 or 316, somewhere around there. That's fine. 270 and above, that's all you need. The rest is just basically saying we're going to, when the person's down, a couple of extra Swifties. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I'm your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. Let us know what you think. Put your comments down below. Check here and here. Those are video links for you. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.